Hello, hello. I've arrived. Hello, Sheppy Sheps, my good friend. Alright, so, Mario. It is Mario time. But first, schedules. It is schedule time also. Oh, hold on. There we go. Gotta get it out of the way there. But yes, so, tonight we are playing some more Super Mario Brothers. At the rate that we've been continuing, or at the rate that we've been playing, I imagine it won't be much more than 1 or 2 more streams. If I'm exceptionally skilled tonight, we may even beat it tonight, who knows. But, for right now, the plan is, or the expectation is, I suppose, more so than plan, the expectation is that we will play some more Mario today, we'll play some more Mario tomorrow, and we may have beaten it by the time Friday rolls around, and we will be playing Legend of Zelda. But yes, so tomorrow is the usual collab day. But yeah, I haven't been able to get into, well, yeah. Yeah, we don't know for sure, necessarily at this point, if we are all going to be available for it. Yeah, I haven't spoken directly to Judo, but I've heard that they are feeling under the weather at the moment. But yes. So because of that, they may not be able to join us, and I'm going to be busy at the usual time. I've got to go into work tomorrow, which is very unusual. But I've actually got a coworker who's out sick as well, so I've got to cover. So yes, so that is why we are starting a little bit later than usual tomorrow. So yes, as stated, Wednesday we will be continuing Super Mario Brothers. Maybe beating it. Hopefully beating it. If we don't beat it today anyway. So yes, on Thursday, then we will be hopefully again completing Conquer the Shadow World. And then on the Friday, the 28th, we're either going to do more Mario or we're going to do Legend of Zelda. You know, whichever still needs to be beaten by the time that rolls around. And so yeah, I was also just reminded of, or not reminded of, but became aware of the fact that they're going to get a new character in Guilty Gear Strive on, I believe it's also on the 28th. Yeah. Let me double check that actually. Yeah, it's Biken, who, I don't know, I guess I don't necessarily know the average level of Guilty Gear literacy in my chat. So, that name may not mean a whole lot to you. But she's a samurai gal. She's got a sword, she's got 1 arm, and she's got a lot of attitude. But yeah, I think, if I remember correctly, she comes out on the 28th. We probably won't necessarily not play Legend of Zelda, if that is the case. We won't skip out on the usual stream, but we might, we may just find some time for a guerrilla stream, if I'm correct and I'm particularly interested. But yes, let's see, what else? I suppose that should be basically everything. Okay, yes, it is coming out on the 28th. But yes, what else? Oh, also, apparently Pokemon Legends is also coming out on the 28th. I don't know, I've been seeing a lot of people talking about that game, so I thought for a second that it was already out without my knowing, but no, it isn't out yet. That's a game that I'm fairly interested in. We might think about playing that sometime down the road, but for right now, we've got a lot of specific games scheduled for a very specific time frame. Fairly interested is the right word. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Call me an optimist, but I'm I've maintained interest in the Pokemon franchise. A fairly significant amount of interest in the Pokemon franchise, despite recent entries, I would say. But, I don't know. I do still want to play... I want to see, I guess, some more of, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and all that. And sort of maybe make my decision based on, what I see. Because they don't look awful. They don't look awful or anything. But, a bit unimpressive, maybe. But yeah, anyway. Pokemon. I love Pokemon so much. You don't even know. But yeah, I really do need to take the, I don't know, I was gonna say I need to take the opportunity to play some Pokemon games on stream. I don't have a whole lot that are easily available for me to stream at the minute. I don't have capture cards for my DS or Game Boy or anything like that. Or, you know, a capture card that could capture my GameCube that I have the Game Boy player on. And there are ways around that, I understand, but you know. Let's see. But yeah, Pokemon. That's not related to anything that we're doing in the near future, and in fact I specifically have made the decision to not immediately start playing Pokemon Legends Arceus, regardless of my interest in it. But, you know, Pokemon. Let's see. Anything else to be said at the minute? Yeah, we've gone over all the games that we're going to be playing. Just as a reminder, the current plan is we're going to be playing Super Mario Brothers, we're going to be playing Legend of Zelda, and we're going to be playing Metroid. And then hopefully, around that time, we'll be pretty close to, you know, mid-late March, when I'm planning to resume Hollow Knight. And we will go for another ending. I'm not sure which one just yet. But we'll go for another ending. Oh yeah, also, I got a little bit distracted, but how are you doing tonight, chaps? Good to see you as always. Yeah, I suppose we'll get over to the game screen. And we will resume our Mario adventure. Also, I should make sure that we have, like, audio. Okay, I think we've got audio. We should have audio. Yes, it looks like we've got audio. Okay, we're cool. But yeah, so let's see. I don't think... Yeah, I haven't gotten to World 6 yet. So according to the bylaws that I have established, I'm only allowed to take the warp zones as far as World 5 at this point. And just a reminder to those who were not there at the time, the current plan is with regards to warp zones and you know, not save points. What's the suspend points? Whatever they call them. But yeah, so no suspend points basically. Full stop, unless I need to. The only instance that I have decided is acceptable for my use of them in this particular run is to basically if I'm at a what's the word I'm looking for? But yeah, if I'm up facing a warp zone and I need to make sure that the locations that it leads me to are ones that I am legally allowed to go to underneath the rules that I have established. So, you know. And I guess we'll get to those rules in a second here. But yes, so only if they, for that purpose, basically. And then for the rules for warp zones, I can only use warp zones to get to a world that I've already reached. So in this case, I can only go so far as World 5, because we haven't cleared World 5 yet. Oops. But yeah, every time I boot up Mario, it always feels a little bit smoother, almost. I don't know if, like, not, how do I say this? Like, I don't know, it just feels That's unfortunate. Alright, here I am proving myself wrong. But, I don't know, it just sort of feels like it comes more naturally to me. But yeah, I guess a lot of that comes from the fact that this is a pretty simple game. So there's not, as much... Anyway. But yeah, a lot of that comes from the fact that this is a relatively simple game. And, yeah, the difference between playing well and playing, less well is pretty significant. Pretty immediately obvious in terms of both, you know, feel and in terms of, you know, visuals, what you can see. Nice, nice. But yeah, I still don't remember precisely how far I got into this game when I was playing it on the 3DS, but I'm pretty confident that World 5 is either as far as, or probably much farther than, I ever got casually. Nice, nice. Kind of nice to have this sort of route that we, this routine that we have for this game. Ah, I just remembered. We didn't go for the 1-up last time, so maybe it's a good thing that that run ended, rather abruptly. Oh, well, we're not going for the 1-up this time either, unfortunately. There we go. And warp zone. That's what I like to see. World 4, please. Thank you. Oh, yep, Spiny. Forgot about the key 2 here. But yeah, the game comes more naturally to me the more I play it. But, still don't remember quite everything. We haven't played it that much. Because yeah, I think we're only like, what, 2 streams in, I think? That sounds about right. That was a very risky play there. And I am immensely fortunate and grateful that I did not get destroyed by that Spiny. I did get severely harmed by that other Spiny, mind you. Ah, wasn't there... Didn't we see... Wasn't there a shortcut in this level at some point, I think? We may have missed out on the shortcut. Yeah, I don't remember clearly, unfortunately. But, you know, hopefully we won't have to deal with 4-1 all that much. Oh yes, we do get our fire flower back right here. That's nice. You know, I've gotta say, it feels a little bit weird to say this, but I don't know. I am trying to think of how to phrase this. I'm not super interested in, like, pixel art as an aesthetic. I enjoy it when it's done well. But I do very much like sprite work. I do very much like sprites, if that makes sense. Because, you know, people tend to think of sprites as just like, you know, pixel art. Sprite... I missed the warp zone. Unfortunate. Thinking too much. But yeah, people tend to sort of think of sprite work and pixel art as being essentially synonymous, I feel like. But, yeah, when I say that I particularly like sprite work, I mean, I like the sort of like animation techniques that, I don't know, I guess to put it simply, I'm more a fan of 2D animation than of 3D animation. Let's see, we don't have enough space for a running start here, unfortunately, so we've got to jump. Gotta take a bit of a riskier jump. We could have salvaged that jump if we were a little bit more careful, but I still don't quite have the reflexes that I need to really thrive here. Alright, that's going to be a mushroom. Nice. Alright. So that time, I bumped my head on the block, and I wasn't expecting it, so, once again, it's an issue of reflexes. But yeah, so the point essentially that I was getting at is that I really appreciate the amount of life and energy that this game puts into its sprite work, even with the very limited sprites that it does have. You know, if you get like you know, 2 fully unique frames of movement, you're pretty lucky in this game. Goombas don't get that. They just get like the same frame flipped, basically. The mushroom retainers don't get 2 frames. They get 1 frame. I think Bowser even only gets 1 frame. But yeah, like one, I'm trying to think of games whose sprite work I especially appreciate. And I don't remember which one, but there was like one of the Dragon Quest games, one of the early Dragon Quest games, was remade for DS at one point. And it has really nice, really very nice and dynamic sprite work on it. And I guess to talk about Pokemon again, Pokemon Black and White have good sprite work. But yeah, that, I need to figure out what Dragon Quest game that is. It might be 5, or it might be 4. I don't know. It's, around that number. Something like that. But yeah, I think there's also like a mobile port of it. Nice, nice. But yes, we're not in as good a situation now. Lacking the Fire Flower. But yeah, there's just something about the way Mario runs that feels really nice. I think a lot of it is just sort of his, you know, the fact that he has a sprite for, like, turning around suddenly. Honestly, there's a lot of modern, like, even like 3D animated games that don't put all that much attention to detail into making sure their movement, like, not only feels good, but like looks good, you know. Like, they may have, you know, turnaround poses and animations. But a lot of them don't have anywhere near this amount of energy. And really, the ultimate anti-spiny technique is basically just to not be near them, really. It's pretty much as simple as that, I feel like. Alright, we're not going to risk too much for these coins. Each life lost is approximately 100 coins lost, as per the math that we've done earlier. So no need to play it too risky for the sake of coins. Alright, and we are free of Lakitu. Very nice. So, this time, let's take that warp zone up. Oh. That was a bit silly of me. Alright, this time we're going to go a little bit slower. Because that's I've been over this before, but a major part of my problem with platformers and my performance with them, a major part of my platformer performance problems come from the fact that I tend to just sort of rush a lot. Which, in the types of platformers that I like the most, which is to say Twitch platformers like your Super Meat Boys and whatnot, you are encouraged to rush a lot. But it doesn't serve you so well in your Mario Bros. If you go too fast, then sometimes you just fall into a pit. And that's no good. Alright. There we go. Whoops. Overshot a little bit. Here we are, back in World 5. It's interesting how the pipes change color. Oh, that was a lot of sprites on screen, huh? But yeah, I wonder a little bit if the different colors of pipes and the background objects. I hesitate to call them like trees. That's what they most resemble, but they don't really look a whole lot like trees. But yeah, so forgot about... Well, I didn't forget about that guy. I didn't take into account the fact that I couldn't just simply destroy the bullet bill immediately with a fireball. But I did remember that it, you know, shot bullet bills at least. Alright, we'll give it one more try. Once again, as I've stated in the past, the timer worries me a lot in these games. A lot more than it probably should. But I'm easily psyched out a little bit by the idea of running out of time. And yeah, here we're like 101 ticks away from failure, so absolutely no reason to rush at all. And shoot, there you go. Let's see, there's Hammer Brothers somewhere in the vicinity, aren't there? Yeah, there's one here. Excuse me? I don't know what happened there. But yeah, that Hammer Brother just sort of saw me jumping on him and decided, no, That's not going to happen, actually. I will not be harmed by this. You will be harmed by this instead. And I respect that. I respect the gumption, as they say. But, I really would have liked an explanation as to why the game did not allow my jump there. Oh, cool. I was expecting that star to just sort of fall off into the abyss, but no, it's ours now. And now we're stronger. I feel like that pipe maybe could have been significant. Well, this is pretty close to the... Yeah, this is pretty close to the goal, so probably not. But hey, we salvaged that situation pretty well, I'd say. Yes, and this is the place where there are just sort of bullet bills all over the shop. Every which way. Alright, there we go. Whoop! Oh! Alright, alright. Alright, here's the end. No good score on the flagpole, but we don't need a good score. We need to survive so that we can bring peace to the Mushroom Kingdom. Actually, come to think of it, do they refer to it as the Mushroom Kingdom in this game? I'm trying to remember. We read through the manual back on day 1, but I don't remember if they used the term Mushroom Kingdom specifically. Unfortunate. We know for certain that there is a Mushroom King, or that there presumably was. Perhaps not necessarily anymore, but there at least was at one point. Alright, that mushroom was never ours, unfortunately. Well, we avoided the fire, but we didn't really get a much better deal out of that maneuver there than to do exactly that. Alright, we're gonna lose this mushroom immediately after getting it. I wonder what the ideal timing there is. We'll figure it out one of these days, I suppose. Oop. There we go. There we go. Very good. I feel like I was going to say something, but I've since forgotten it, unfortunately. Man, it would be... I'm realizing now that, yeah, it's been so long since I played, like, pretty much everything between here and World... Really most of World, 5, basically. Because, yeah, we skipped, like, 2 whole worlds, most of 1. And, you know... Yeah, about, well, not most of 1, I guess exactly half of 1. And, half of another. For a grand total of 4, I suppose, in strict mathematical terms, but you know. But yeah, let's not forget the 1-up this time. That probably won't be what changes our fate, necessarily, but any help that we can get. There we go. To think of it, have we encountered a 1-up in a block basically anywhere else in the game at this point. Not that I can recall. Alright, here we go. Whoops. So yeah, I've investigated a lot of spots that have sort of felt like there should maybe be a 1-up in them. But, you know, if there's not, there's not, I guess. There's nothing I can do about it. Oop. There we go. Oh. Alright, got a little bit overzealous there. Let the momentum carry us too far. We don't get the mushroom earlier either. That time we didn't let the momentum carry us far enough. There we go. Okay, okay. I feel like that pipe there may have been, well, couldn't have been a shortcut. It may have been the exit to a shortcut, but it couldn't have been the entrance to one because there's no pipe here. Unless I guess there's a secret exit to this this course. Sip. Which is possible, I suppose, but it feels unlikely. Alright, going too fast is a major concern here, so let's not go too fast. Let's in fact go just as fast as we need to. Let's go 1 fast instead. Or we could go, you know, half fast. In this particular instance, there is no prize for going fast. And I guess by trying to go fast, I have missed out on that coin block pretty consistently here. Ah, that's not anything. I was gonna say, I thought there was a coin block around here, but there was a coin block around here. We just, you know, hit it. Alright, yeah, that's nothing. Oh dear. That's quite unfortunate. Ooh. If we hadn't jumped there, we maybe could have doubled back in time. Interesting to note. Yeah, I definitely need to mess with this text a little bit. It's bothering me a lot. It'd be nice if I use stream elements for my overlays. It'd be nice if I could because you can preview alerts and stuff, but I don't, as far as I'm aware, there's no way that you can preview chat, like what the chat looks like. I just kind of have to guess, basically. Which is a bit inconvenient, to be totally honest with you. And it's saying that my validation key, or my key is not valid or whatever. Let me log back in with Twitch, I guess. Alright, do you accept me now? Cool. Now, let me edit my overlay, please. Thank you. Because yeah, I don't think I can, yeah, unless I were to do a stream and just type in my own chat, which I guess I could do. Yes, let's see, text. Put a bolder, actually we could make the text a little bit bolder too, I think. Alright, let's see how this, do I need to refresh the overlay now? Probably. Ah, no, actually. Hold on. Ah, no, it probably just cleared itself because of the, because I just updated it. There it is. Yeah, well, while we're here, I was going to sort of, up the stroke around the text just a little bit for testing purposes, but I feel like we will intentionally aim for a little bit higher than we maybe need, and we'll just sort of see how that treats us. Whoops. Oops. Alright, okay. So yeah, if you happen to still be around, Shucks, you want to send a message real quick. Alright. A lot of effort to go through for one coin, it seems like, but you know. Alright. Oops, don't pause. Thought for a second I could, like, skip that cutscene or something, I guess. That must have been what happened in my mind. Alright. Oops. There we go. This is... okay, there we go. That's fine. I was a bit worried there, but we're fine. We're fine. And we're especially fine, because we're about to get a 1-up. You know, in the not-too-distant future. Yeah, it is sort of interesting to think, you know, a lot of people sort of ask, like, they see a lot of old games with very obtuse mechanics and whatnot, and sort of, you know, not, unjustifiedly ask, like, how do they expect you to figure this out? How do they expect you to know this offhand? And, a lot of the time the answer was they didn't. I feel like. A lot of the time I feel like the expectation was basically just that you'd just sort of you'd figure it out through trial and error a lot of the time. A lot of different sort of puzzles and problems to be solved. That's sort of how I feel about, you know, positions of, like, 1-ups and stuff. Things like warp zones and whatnot. They're not expecting you to necessarily know this. Not expecting you to necessarily be able to just figure it out unprompted. What they do expect is that you'll play the game and, you know, experiment around a little bit. Ah, very nice. Alright. Can't get in there now. Do we want to necessarily? I guess we maybe don't need to. Alright, none of that seems to have done anything super interesting. Yeah, nothing interesting up there, seems like. But we're a little bit taller now, so that's nice. We are Super Mario, as opposed to just Mario. Alright, so we got 12 that time, which I think exceeds our previous record of 11 coins. out of one of those blocks. So yeah, it definitely does depend on your timing to a certain extent. I mean, it definitely, yeah. There's probably a better way to phrase that, but yes, you know. Yeah, not timing, as in a specific, well, it does have a specific rhythm to it, I guess. Because if you hit it too fast, you'll hit it before it sort of recovers, basically. And if you hit it too slow, then you'll hit it, you know, you'll run out of time. So presumably, based on observation, it seems like the minimum number of coins you could get out of one of those blocks, assuming you hit it more than once, I guess. If you only hit it once, you can get just one, and if you don't hit it at all, you can get none. But assuming that you hit it as regularly as you can, we don't know the, or rather, yeah, assuming that you hit it more than once, it seems like the minimum is 2 coins, I think. Because you hit it the once, and then you, no matter how long you wait, it won't sort of expire on its own, I don't think. So, assuming that you hit it more than once, the maximum seems to have to be more than 1. Or the minimum has to be more than 1 under those conditions. But yeah, we haven't established a clear maximum yet. For a while I thought it was 11, but that was probably just me being held back by my mediocre mashing abilities. Nice, nice. Very nice. I'm trying to think, is this the first level that introduces bullet bills? Obviously, we are acquainted with bullet bills. Alright, close enough that they won't fire, cool. We are acquainted with bullet bills. But I'm trying to think, have we ever encountered them properly before this point? Very nice. I'm very curious as to what the range on a bullet bill fired is. Ah, hello, Altariana. Good to see you today. Yeah, I'm very curious to see what the sort of minimum range that they'll fire at is, but I definitely don't want to figure that out the hard way. Alright. Going to be a hammer brother here, but with our fire we should, well, I guess we don't have a great angle on him. So, there we go. Nice, nice. Yes, how are you doing tonight, Altariana? Whoops. There we go. The bloopers, as they are called in this game, are a matter of some concern to us, but the cheeps are pretty tame. Having fireballs is very nice. Looking at the text, it's still not as readable as I'd like it to be. Alright, maybe I shouldn't have been looking at the text while I was trying to make a complicated jump. I guess it's not a complicated jump, but trying to make a jump where timing could potentially, mistiming my jump could potentially result in my death. Honestly, we're not even going to deal with the other hammer brother. Maybe we should have, I guess. Well, that's unfortunate. Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe the text probably looks smaller to me, or it has the potential to look smaller to me, because I'm looking at it through my OBS preview, and not through, you know, the actual website twitch.tv upon which I am streaming. So, I don't know. Very nice. Sip. Now is perhaps not the most optimal time for a sip, but it was a perfectly serviceable time for a sip, I would say. There we go. Alright, that time it was 10. But yeah, the distance off the ground definitely plays some part in it. It changes up the timing at the very least. Because if it's very close to the ground, you have to wait for it to reset. If it's higher off the ground, you either don't have to wait at all, or don't have to wait as long at the very least. Whoop. There we go. There we go. Alright, on to the warp zone. And in very good condition, too. Oh, we forgot the one up. Let's see. Yeah, there's a shortcut around here somewhere. A coin. Oh, pardon. A coin room. Are you the one? No. Are you the one? Yes, you are. Alright, this is doable. There we go. Alright, it's little optimizations like that that'll really save us in the long run, I think. Because yeah, we're definitely short a few coins this time. Definitely short a few coins. That's it. Considering that last time we were here we got a 1-up. But it's a pretty small deficit. Alright. Alright, we got a little bit overzealous there. There we go. Oh dear. Alright, that was a matter of some concern. We've broken even on the life that we spent there needlessly. And we've even got our power-up back. But at what cost? Precisely 1 life, 100 coins. That is the cost. Alright, I don't think we got the full 12 out of that one. I think we were short 1. Trying to remember, is this pipe anything? No. Yeah, I guess any of these pipes could be anything. But yeah, I think this is the coin line before I was going to say off-ramp. I guess that's not exactly the appropriate term to use, but you know, before the approach to the warp zone. Whoops. Hold on, let me adjust something real quick. Alright, okay, there we go. That shouldn't change anything on your end, but that, very unfortunate. Let's see, I wonder if there's anywhere in the immediate vicinity where I can get a power-up. I don't suppose you happen to be a mushroom. Neither of them happen to be mushrooms. This will take me... Oh no, I was going to say this would take me to the water area, but it won't. That's a... next stage, I think. I'm trying to remember, does the manual, I guess, not this game. There's very little text in the game. But does the... I'm trying to remember if the manual refers to them as courses or stages in this game. It doesn't, you know, matter, broadly speaking. But that's sort of the person that I am. I'm interested in the taxonomy used. Mostly from an archaeological standpoint, sort of thinking of how the term used to refer to levels, or the terms used to refer to levels, have changed over the... Oh, I think this is our first time hearing the sort of frantic, you're about to lose music. And indeed, we did not lose, proving once again that my fears were totally unfounded all these many years. Alright, we've got a hammer brother coming up. Can we just completely... We can't just completely avoid them, it would seem. But this is somewhat concerning, then. I need to rethink my hammer brother strategy. I need to develop a hammer brother strategy, maybe. Because, yeah, it seems like you just kind of can't jump on their heads, maybe. At least you can't do so without expecting some risk. Without assuming the risk. Because, yeah, it does sort of seem that they just sort of kill you if they feel like it, almost. It might be that they're only sometimes vulnerable. It might be that they're only sometimes vulnerable. It could be that they've, in the times that we've tried to jump on them... Let's see, we've established, I think, pretty thoroughly that there's no power-ups here, I think. Ah, there's the star. But that's not something that we care too much about. Powerful as it may make us, it's a very temporary sort of power. The power we need is a power that will endure. Nice. But yeah, the Hammer Brothers just sort of seem like they just sort of refuse to be stepped on sometimes. Which I get it. It's fine. I don't like to be stepped on either, I've got to say. Oops. Probably didn't need to duck there. I mean, definitely didn't need to duck there. I know exactly how tall Mario is at any given point, so... Alright. But yeah, so it seems like... Have we ever stepped on a Hammer Brother without them, causing harm to us? Now that I think about it, I don't know that we ever have. Oh, that was unfortunate. Yeah, I think that... Well, that was just some classic foolishness on my part. But yeah, I think the previous missed jump was just sort of another case of my leaden fingers. I press too hard on the buttons, and I don't let up enough to for them to reset and register another press. But we can take all we've learned, crystallize it, and come back for another round. Each time it gets a little bit easier. It's still not easy by any stretch, but it's easier. We understand better what we're doing, even if we don't fully. Sip. Yeah, it seems that 5,000 points is the most we'll get out of the flagpole. I'd been assuming, since 5,000 seemed like an unusually low number, or, I don't know, it seemed like it could have been something, I don't know, maybe not higher necessarily, but, I don't know. 5,000 just sort of seems like not quite complete, almost, you know? Not being... I was going to say not being a multiple of 100, but it definitely is. But yeah, not being, you know, an order of magnitude of 1, I guess. It feels a little bit incomplete. Yeah, I guess probably I'm more used to the more recent Mario games, just giving you a 1-up for reaching the top of the flagpole, which I think is what they do in 3D World and New Super Mario Bros. U, which are the Mario games that I have played the most extensively, or the Mario platformers that I have played the most extensively. This is new. Hold on. Interesting. But yeah, the Mario platformers that I have played the most extensively, outside of this one. Oh. I really should have taken note of where that pipe was. I wasn't paying that much attention, I'm gonna be honest, because I wasn't expecting it to lead me anywhere. Ooh, we almost didn't make that jump. But yeah, so there's some extra coins to be had in 1-2. So don't want to miss those. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of coins that we sort of intentionally miss here, for fear of Spinies. And their Lakitu Masters. Let's see, it's not this first one, it's the second one, I think. Yes, it is. Oh. There we go. Oh. Man, it's very particular about, forward momentum. Because I don't think I was pressing forward there. Unless, again, my leaden fingers have simply caused me to misinterpret how much force the game requires to register a forward input. Sip. I do have a somewhat unfortunate habit of pressing very, very hard on controllers. To the point where it's even, like, uncomfortable to me, to be honest. Yeah, I have a very strong indifference to mild pain, I would say. Like, I press very hard on controllers, to the point where my thumbs start to ache. And, I just sort of don't think much of it. And, I wash my hands with very hot water. And I'm starting to realize that that's probably not good for me. Because, like, I've chronically had, like, some pretty bad, like, skin on my hand. Well, my one hand that has skin. As of right now. But yeah, I've pretty chronically had bad skin on that hand. And I did some research. There might be a shortcut we're missing somewhere around here. I'm pretty sure there was, actually. But yeah, I did some research on that. Yeah, not the other day. A while back. And I have been led to believe that using very hot, like painfully hot water to wash your hands with, especially if you wash your hands pretty regularly, which I do, is not good, broadly speaking. Well, there goes our life lead. And to a person who is less extremely indifferent towards mild pain, may have simply felt, this is tremendously uncomfortable. I should probably just not do this because I don't like the way it feels. But for me, in the absence of anyone expressly telling me, yeah, you shouldn't be putting water on your skin that's so hot that it's like very painful, like multiple times a day, day after day after day. In the absence of anyone explicitly telling me that, I just sort of assumed, well, this hurts, but like, it doesn't hurt that much. So I don't see any reason to not do it. Sit. Been a while since we've been here in Ol 4-3, huh? Got pretty good at going through 4-2, I guess. Actually, we were here at like the start of the stream, weren't we? Before we warmed up, shall we say. Alright, we need to make this fall. We need to make this fall. We need to make this fall, there we go. There we go. I think I just saw Koopa just sort of walking on nothing there. That was interesting. Alright. So yeah, this is going to be our first time in 4-4 also, for a while. Huh. Or our first time in 4-4 for a while, yeah. I was trying to think how to construct that sentence, but I think I got it right. Ah, we've got to go up, don't we? Because this is the maze. The amazing maze. I think that's the name of a level in Super Mario 64 or something. No, I think I'm probably thinking of Hazy Maze Cave, actually. Which is a maze, but it's not described as amazing, I don't think. Isn't there... Wait, is Hazy Maze Cave a level? I'm trying to think. No, well, of course it's a level if it's got a name. But yeah. Is the amazing emergency elevator in Hazy Maze Cave, or am I thinking of a different star in a different level? Or the same star in a different level, I guess it would be. I can't remember now. Ah, nice. Oh, the first time we did that, we didn't get a 1-up out of it. I guess maybe I didn't follow the shell quite as closely as I should have. And it's gonna bounce back. There we go. Yeah, I'll say the first time that we did that ever, we followed the shell far too closely and suffered tremendously for our folly. Oh dear. There we go. But yeah, so to speak again on my leaden fingers, if for no other reason then it's probably bad on the controller. I should probably be a little bit more careful about the amount of pressure I'm exerting. Also the fact that it's, you know, hard on me, probably. I've already had to get one hand replaced. I guess I shouldn't risk having to have the other one replaced either. Aftermarket parts are not cheap. Tip, let me tell ya. Is this anything? No. It seemed like it might be something because of the Koopa there, but it would seem that it is not. That's a low battery notification is what that is. Hopefully that won't be a concern to us. Oh dear. Yeah, I still haven't come up with a consistent strategy for those fellas. Oh dear. Well, we're pretty close to another life, I suppose. And hey, if nothing else, it's another opportunity to figure out how to get past a hammer throw without dying. Well, I mean, we got past them without dying. We did get past them without dying, so that mission is complete. It's the getting past them without being stricken. That is the issue. Do we really want to go for the shortcut? Well, yeah. Because the issue there wasn't that we went for the shortcut. The issue was that we got a bit too hungry for coins and spent too much time around the bloober. Because yeah, this is very easy and very fast and very safe if we, you know, allow it to be. Ah. I was a little bit overly cautious there. Ah. That was just unnecessary. So, we've lost our life lead a little bit. But quite frankly, the fact that we managed to maintain one this long is pretty impressive in and of itself, in my book. I maybe could have... I don't know what this could have is, I still can be here. But yeah, I was gonna say, I maybe should have checked to see if, you know, there's anything we could get out of these. Oh wait, this was just where we were. I guess we must have... Why were there Hammer Brothers? Okay, so that won't fall directly on top of you. You do need to position yourself for it. Or you need to jump for it, rather. Maybe if I position myself really far to the right. I could have grabbed it. But yeah, I think this is the pipe that we emerged from. And yeah, there weren't any Hammer Brothers when we popped out of it. And then there's that Buzzy Beetle. Jumping over the shell off screen, of course. Ah, okay, no ricochet this time. Cool. Alright, and if we maintain this powered up state, we can get a fire flower out of it. There we go. The path to Mario Mastery is a long one indeed. Ooh. Okay, the game did not like that. I wonder if maybe that last death was due to input lag. I don't feel like it was, but it could have been, given everything that was just happening there. Alright, back to the grind. It feels like we spent a long time out in World 5 there. I guess that's the benefit of having lots of lives, huh? But yes, there's much to be learned still. I wonder, should I cut off Super Mario Brothers at some point, basically? And just like, even if we haven't beaten it, and just move on to Legend of Zelda? 'Cause I do definitely want to, you know, complete the 3 games. Well, there's the thing. Complete them. I want to beat them. But yeah. Is it better to just play all 3 of them? Or is it better to, you know, beat all 3 of them? Because yeah, I guess I can just play it whatever... If we're still on, you know, Super Mario Brothers or Metroid or Zelda at that point. If we're still playing whichever game at that point, we could just, you know, sort of alternate between the... Alright, let's be a little bit careful. Because we want coins. All the coins that you can spare for us. There we go. Is this anything? No. Yeah, none of these are anything, I don't think. Maybe this last one could be something. Yeah, the game is a little bit fiddly about forward inputs. Because I definitely wasn't pressing forward there, I don't think. And yet we still lost our opportunity, so... Because yeah, I'm not inclined to think that it's specifically reading for forward movement, or movement in general. Because, you know, you don't move at all, or you're not moving at all when you trigger a pipe going downwards. So yeah, it's the second pipe here that has the shortcut and the coins. There we go. Okay, I definitely wasn't pressing forward there again. So yeah, it seems like it is based on movement. So maybe if I held back, it wouldn't move me forward? I think I just realized, I think we forgot the 1-up in World 1 too. which is very unfortunate. I should maybe come up with more terms to describe unfavorable circumstances than unfortunate, very unfortunate, and a little bit unfortunate. I do like having a certain efficiency of language. Who could stand to spice things up a little bit here and there? Perhaps something can merely be bad. I suppose we do use less than ideal sometimes. Is one of these pipes something? I know that there's a pipe that's of interest to us around here somewhere. Ah, this one. Alright, I was so worried. I was so worried that that pipe was just going to, make a meal of us. But no, we're fine. Oh dear. We've missed out on an opportunity, haven't we? Yes, we have. Alright. This is a very acceptable circumstance. Alright, World 5-1. Here we come. I suppose there are certain benefits, now that I think about it, to potentially not skipping maybe even entire worlds. Or, yeah, skipping fewer worlds, not skipping worlds at all. But yeah, namely in that it would give us more opportunities for coins and extra lives. Nice. Very good, very good. Probably could have, we were probably still invincible when that bullet bill passed by us, and we didn't need to worry about it, but you know. Yeah, I was gonna say no one was ever harmed by being too cautious, but I'm sure, honestly, I probably have at various points during this playthrough. Alright, we'll give it one more attempt. Or two. Alright, we'll just go. You know, I never noticed it before, but the, it's not just that the melody is accelerated. Stretch. It certainly is. But the drum line is also different, it feels like. I don't think it's just faster. I think there is something, like, observably different about it. Alright, we missed out on our very ideal attack. There we go. The deeper secrets of the Hammer Brothers still continue to evade me, but for the time being I'll be satisfied with not dying to them. From whence does their marvelous durability come from? We may never know. But what is known is that we can avoid the worst of them. Alright, I think that was 12. assuming that I counted properly. I feel like my count was a little bit slow, so I might not have. But just because I feel like I was slow doesn't mean that I actually was. I think this pipe's also a shortcut, isn't it? Oh no, no. No, it's not. Because I'm always thinking, what's the shortcut that's right next to where the Hammer Brothers spawn? But we just came out of that shortcut. We came out of that shortcut and they didn't spawn because we took the shortcut for whatever reason. So, I guess they just sort of, they must not have gotten enough advance notice to know that we were coming. It seems that the bullet bills are able to trigger the code that makes enemies turn around. As though... I was going to say as though they were objects, but I guess enemies do... They do turn around when they bump into other enemies. And bullet bills are certainly enemies. Very boldly tried to shoot that bullet bill out of the air there. Would not have worked, but it would have been... Imagine how cool it would have been if it had worked. Anything that's impossible is cool if you achieve it. Alright. So, this... Alright, so this big fire bar is a big threat also, which is why I decided to run directly into it. I suppose I don't need the power-up. I very much would prefer it, but... I suppose I don't need it. Nope. Alright, I really hope this low battery warning... Well, I can just hold on. I can make this not be a problem. Give me a second. Alright, I'm back. Wait, hold on. Ah, there we go. Okay. This is definitely not ideal, having to play this game on a joystick now. I was getting used to the controls, so I did not, I did not respond appropriately to that hazard, I must admit. Oh yeah, this is very weird. I don't like this, actually. But we don't have a choice at the minute, I suppose. I've got other Joy-Cons somewhere in this house. But, well, I say somewhere. I found one of them. I found one of them, but I didn't find the other one. And the one that I did find is completely uncharged, so it's not going to be of any help to me. It is the appropriate side that I could have used it for this. I should find the other one at some point, because, you know, a Joy-Con's like a $40 investment, so every second that I do not know where this Joy-Con is a second where the $40 I spent on it is as nothing. Sim. I've only ever bought, well, I was going to say I've only ever bought Joy-Cons in pairs. I've only ever bought a pair of Joy-Cons. You know, the Switch comes with them. I've only got 4. But, yeah, the pair is like $70, I think. So it's not $40 that I am squandering by not knowing where this Joy-Con is. It's only $35. But yeah, I think, didn't we discover that there was a shortcut in here? There may be a shortcut in like every level, actually. Wouldn't that be something? That would, again, be incentive to, if not necessarily not skip every level, at least incentive to consider which worlds ought to be and ought not to be skipped. Alright. So yeah, it seems that proximity and momentum both play a key in determining whether or not you'll go through the pipe. Or again, maybe I was just pressing the button too hard, and even when I eased up on it, I was still pressing it without realizing it. And that's why we weren't able to avoid going through those pipes ever. You know, the reason I failed there is because I got nervous. Because the Spinies, in the past, have often fallen through blocks due to, you know, not... I suppose their collision must be, like, in the dead center of them, basically. Because, yeah, many times in the past, they've fallen through blocks due to not colliding with them, it seems like. I suppose while we're here... Actually, I don't know that we can hit this block. Because, yeah, we don't have enough... I don't think we can get a running start at it. It's really hard to get a running start at this one with a joystick. There we go. Because yeah, we can't crouch in midair. And while we can go in midair while crouching, I don't know that we can quite manage that. It may just be a lack of skill thing, or it may just be the game will straight up will not allow that sort of thing. Alright. Stretch. Well, one way or another, we're back at World 4-2. I didn't see how many lives we have, so I don't know how well we're doing in absolute terms. We don't have a Fire Flower, and often on our better runs, we've had a Fire Flower going into 4-2. So I'm not super optimistic, but we could certainly be worse off. You know, we were Super Mario until a minute ago, when we became Fiery Mario. Let's see, I don't think... That pipe's not a shortcut, but the one coming up is, I'm pretty sure. I should start writing these things down so I don't forget them. Oops. Well, can't go there anymore. Ah, there we go. We almost missed it. Yeah, writing things down, that's another essential strategy from these days, I think. Writing things down is not a skill, or I guess rather a technique, that is encouraged or necessary in modern games. Not very much, I don't think, anyway. We'll use fire there, just to be a little bit safer. There we go. Convenience is nice. I don't want to come across, and I probably haven't been, so maybe I'm just overthinking it, but I definitely don't want to come across as being like a sort of retro purist or anything like that. Elitist. Sort of, you know. Games were best in this era. And all that. And the fact that I did not grow up during this era, very much so not. The era of, we'll say inconvenience, to contrast with the convenience of modern games, as I put it. The fact that I did not grow up in this era definitely doesn't disqualify me from romanticizing it, I think. I feel like a lot of people who romanticize things generally didn't experience them firsthand. But probably about as many did experience them firsthand, to be honest. And just tend to generalize. They see certain things that they don't like from newer games and assume, well, I don't remember not liking older games necessarily as much, so clearly games must have just been better when I was younger, or something like that. Or, you know, games with this this particular style, these particular elements, are just better. And sometimes they're self-aware enough to think, well, maybe not better, but better for me, maybe. But sometimes they do just think, clearly, the things that I enjoyed must have been the absolute best. There's a way to deal with that guy, I'm sure. That can't just be like a damage gate. You know, this whole time when I've been swimming, I've been holding down the B button to sprint, but I don't need to do that. And that was probably what was causing me... I guess there's not a B button on this controller, but you get the idea. I was holding down the sprint button, rather. And that's not necessary. It provides me with no benefit underwater, I don't think, and only impedes my mashing ability. My already, admittedly, subpar mashing ability, I would say. There we go. So yeah. I definitely... Yeah, I don't know. So, like, to get back to the point of nostalgia that I was making, you know, I'm not going to say that, you know, games are better now, or they, you know, games are better now, games are better then, because there isn't really an objective better. Different people like different games, and different mechanics of games, and features and elements. Not just mechanics, you know, but like, you know, design choices, stylistic choices, differences in presentation, and such. Different people like different things for different reasons, you know? But yeah, to say that there were, you know, truly a golden era of games, really, beyond the, you know, maybe saying this was an era where this or that style of game was more popular. But yeah, anything beyond that in terms of saying like this was a golden era, a renaissance or whatnot for this type of design or these design elements is at best misleading, I think. At best misleading and or misguided. There's a way to get that, I'm sure. There has to be. There does have to be a solution, but I don't have to know it, I guess. Nope. I'm pretty sure the solution is basically jump on top of the item box, wait for the fire bar to like have immediately passed, and then go down to grab it. If I'm quick enough from the bottom, I might be able to get it, but probably it's not worth wagering my lives on. I say, doing it again. Yeah. I don't... It may be possible to be fast enough to do that, but I'm not fast enough to do that as of right now. So let's, instead of spending our lives on that, let's spend our lives on getting more acquainted with Castle 5-4. Oh right, we have beaten this Bowser before, haven't we? There we go. Alright, alright. Thank you, Mario! Our princess is in another castle! Oh, wait, we have gotten to World 6 before. Right. Oh wait, no we haven't. Yeah, we've definitely not been here before. Yeah, there must have been some level earlier with like a dark sky background like this. And I thought, oh, we've been here before, but no, we definitely haven't. That was a little bit silly. I got a little bit excited there. You know, I kind of wonder why the shoulder buttons, like just the plain shoulder buttons, aren't used for, Yeah, why the plain just shoulder buttons aren't used for start and select, or something like that. That seems like it would be fairly simple. Because yeah, as it is, you have to hold minus on this instance. But yeah, anyway. So games having convenience features like, you know, in-game journals, quest compasses, maps, and such, that point you just, you know, this is exactly where you need to go. Sometimes even as far as to say, you can take this exact path and you will make it to where you need to be. Yeah. That is fine. Not for everyone, necessarily. And, you know, there's a lot of people who don't like that, in fact, as I was getting at. People who like the less convenient games of old, or the style of the less convenient games of old. Yeah, there's definitely... You know, there's definitely a point to be made that being able to disable convenience features would be nice. You know, in newer games. Because yeah, it's easy to say, you know, oh, just don't look at the map, don't look at the compass, all that. But like, you know, in a lot of games you kind of can't not use it. both in the sense of, you know, these UI elements are often just, they're often, like, unavoidably large on the screen, basically. Like, you can't not use the compass because it's just, like, there. Like, you can point your gaze away from it, but, you know, you can't guarantee that you won't look at it and see some information that you didn't want. Or, you know, that you won't get frustrated at some point and think, well, you know, I'll just look at the compass. But yeah, ooh, can I still jump on this? Yes, I can. But yeah, so being able to disable quest compasses and other features like that, you know, okay. Yeah, sometimes they are unavoidable because of the way that the UI design is structured. Like, you basically cannot not look at it because it, or you cannot guarantee that you won't look at it because it is so prominent or so large on the screen. And a lot of games, you know, are designed with quest compasses and maps and whatnot in mind. Like, the game doesn't tell you precisely where you need to go. Like, if you're like taking a quest and the NPC, you're all like, okay, where do I need to go? Like, the NPC will generally give you an answer, but that answer will be generally like, you know, you have to go to such and such location. They'll just name it. Maybe they'll say what direction it is. Or something like that, if you're especially fortunate. But in most cases, they'll basically just say, you know, just go to X location. Just go to this point. And sort of the only way to figure out how to get to that point is to look at the map, which you may not like. Whereas in older games, without these sort of objective markers on maps that you can just pull up at any time without worry, a lot of the time, like, NPCs would give you, like, actual instructions. And depending on how old the game is, the game may have a journal in it, like an automatic journal in it that just keeps track of, okay, so-and-so told me to, you know, starting from this location, go this distance, this direction, that distance, that direction, so on and so forth, till you reach your destination. Or, you know, it might fall to you to write this information down. And if you're the type of person who likes to, you know, figure things out as you go, to follow directions and instructions to find your destination rather than simply following an arrow that just sort of hovers above you. Following an arrow just hovering above you to find your destination, or, you know, anything else like that. Then, you know, a lot of games simply aren't built in such a way as to be able to accommodate that. And I think there is a certain something lost by not having the option to accommodate that style of play. It does detract from the experience from the experience for some people. Yeah, I don't know, something as simple as the quest journals saying, like, even if you don't want to have, like, separate, like, NPC dialogue for people who have the map, or who have the explicit map markers turned on, versus people who don't have them turned on. Yeah, even if you don't want different dialogue for that, or you don't want to have dialogue that specifically says, you know, the exact locations, because, you know, that's something that could change in, during development. You decide you don't want the quest to be here, you want it to be somewhere else. And then you have to, you know, get the voice actor to get back in the studio and re-record some lines for, you know, what is ultimately not terribly... I mean, it could be terribly important, actually. I was going to say it is not terribly important, but it really could be, depending on how essential the quest is to completing the game. Alright. There we go. But yeah. So it could be important, it could be downright negligible. Alright, we missed out on another opportunity for a 1-up there. Because of my cursed flaming blossom. That sounds like a cool attack name. If I ever become a Chunibyo, I'll be sure to use that as an attack name. Right, those blocks don't have anything that we want. So yeah, again, it could be varying degrees of important, these explicit directions, depending on the game and the quests, rather. So yeah, an option to have the, if you have the explicit map direction turned off, it could be nice to have like an in-game journal that like at least says, such and such location that I need to go to, rather than, having if you want to turn the arrows and the whatnot off, you could have it say, instead of go to this point and just reference the map or the quest compass to determine where this point is, to have it instead say, this location is such and such, so-and-so NPC told me this location is such and such distance north or south or whatever from this other location. Can we jump up there from here? Yes, we can. Alright, it seems that if you're too high up, you can't throw fireballs, actually. I guess being that up there wasn't super beneficial to us. Alright, Bloober defeated. Oh dear. Well, that's unfortunate. Mario defeated. Oh dear. Mario defeated. Oh, nice. That was actually pretty ideal. Alright, now we do have to contend with the Hammer Brother once again. Alright, that was just an issue of me standing too close. I could have avoided that. Given our past issues with Bloobers, and our lack of a Fireflower at this point, maybe this is a more dangerous option than it is a shortcut, really. Well, no, because this lets us avoid the actual pair of Hammer Brothers here. Alright, I don't trust like that. There we go. Unfortunate. Alright, now we have to contend with the Double Hammer Brothers. At least they're... Alright, we did successfully jump on one, so it can be done. I wasn't anticipating that, so I didn't have anything resembling an appropriate response to it. And I got immediately killed by a hammer, regardless. But we have confirmed now that that is a solvable problem. And yes, my failure to do so earlier is precisely that, my failure. Speaking of my failure. Alright, we are just about out of time here. So I think we're going to call it for tonight. And I'll make sure that my Joy-Cons are nice and charged for, Wednesday. I don't charge my Joy-Cons anywhere near as much as I probably should, to be honest. I mean, I guess I don't use them much outside of the stream. Don't have a whole lot of opportunity to, well, I've recently had opportunity, I suppose. I don't know. There's a difference between having the opportunity and taking the opportunity, I guess, to play games, as I was going to say. I often don't because I just, you know, find myself distracted by other things, you know. You know. But, anyway, that is neither here nor there. Now, it is time for us to wrap up. So, today, we have completed some more. I mean, really, well, actually, no, we've gotten further. We have gotten further, actually. Because we hadn't, I'm confident that we haven't made it so far as World 6 before, because I don't recall World 6-1. It doesn't look familiar. So, it must be new to us. And if we had a warp that could take us to World 6, then we could, you know, take it to World 6, I guess. In short. But, let's see. What's the point I'm trying to make? What is the point I'm trying to make? I don't even know. Let's activate our brain cells here. Yeah, if we had a warp that we could take to World 6, that would be nice. Basically, we could take it now, but you know we don't, so we can't and we won't. There might be other warp zones in other like undergrounds that we just haven't discovered yet. But you know, if we haven't discovered them yet, then we haven't discovered them yet. So not much we can do about that. Other than, I guess, look for them. But we are getting closer, ever closer. Not all that quickly, but we're getting ever closer to finally achieving victory in this battle between the Koopa Kingdom, the Koopa Tribe, and the Mushroom Kingdom. But yes, I think that should be, well, no, that is today. We have to talk about other days. We beat some more Mario. We're a little bit further. Tomorrow, again, if Judo doesn't join us, isn't feeling well, then we'll play something else. But assuming that Judo does join us, we'll play some Borderlands the pre-sequel. Because yeah, that's a game that's definitely seen a lot of delays and interruptions in it. Probably more so than any other game that we played on stream together, I think. But yeah. So, I anticipate seeing Alt and Sheps there tomorrow. So we'll figure something out, I suppose. Let's see. What else is there to say? Well, I guess that's only 2 out of the 5 days that I'm streaming, so there's much more to be said. Let's see. Wednesday? I was expecting to make more progress in Super Mario Brothers, to be honest, so I think we're probably going to continue playing. We started that sentence off by talking about Wednesday, but now I'm talking about Friday. But yeah, we're probably not... Let's make it more Wednesday-centric by saying that at this rate, there's a good chance that we won't beat the game on Wednesday, like I was hoping for. So we might need to extend this until Friday at the very least. But yeah, honestly, I'm inclined to keep playing until we're done, essentially. To keep playing until Super Mario Brothers is done. And not worry about, not worry about finishing it in time for whatever else. Because if whatever game runs into our Hollow Knight time, we can just play it alongside Hollow Knight. Play it on alternating days, or something like that. But yes. Okay, so that's Wednesday and Friday covered, I guess, now, to a certain extent. Now, Thursday, we're going to be playing Conquer the Shadow World. We're very, very close to Conquer the Shadow World being done. So, we could very well finish that Thursday. I was going to say tomorrow, but no, we're not playing that tomorrow. But yes, okay. Anything else to be said? Friday, you know. I've said, blah. I said Legend of Zelda. We may not, I said hopefully, I guess, so. That covers my bases, I suppose. And even if it didn't, it's not that big a deal. Anyway, that's all that is to be said, I suppose. So, it is time for the end of stream wrap-up. So. Thank you all for being here tonight. As per usual, we're going to go out and do a raid on someone. If you have any suggestions, please drop them. In the meantime, I'll take the opportunity to stretch a little bit, have a sip. Sit. Yeah, no suggestions, it looks like. So, let us go and let's see who's on. Yeah, I think tonight we are going to raid Mimi. Been a bit since we dropped by and visited. So yes, let's go and rectify that situation, I suppose. So yes, he is a dwarf VTuber, likes to play some Final Fantasy XIV. Currently, she's playing a game called Good Pizza, Great Pizza, and that's definitely something I can get behind. Yes, Mimi33. There we go. All right. So the raid message is, as always, we have arrived. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. I hope that you have a fine night every night. And I hope that you'll be well until the next time I see you. So, let us get this raid underway, and farewell.